Hello, friends. Pakistan and China signed China-Pakistan Economic Corridor deals in 2015. With 7 years on, what has been the progress? This is a big question. With the CPEC agreements, it was hoped that it would bring in a lot of industrialization in Pakistan through the special economic zones, that the trade balance would also improve in favor of Pakistan to a certain extent, because at the moment this trade balance is heavily in favor of China. Now, what has happened in the last 7 years? To survey this, we today have an expert with us, an economist, Ali Salman, who is the executive director of Market Economy Research Oriented Institute, Prime. And I asked him as to what is the status of Pakistan-China trade at the moment, and whether Pakistani exporters have been able to take advantage of the big Chinese market.
So the trade relationships between Pakistan and China have evolved in last 15 years, particularly in the light of the free trade agreement that we signed in 2007. And then the phase two was then signed and became operational in 2018-19. As we have seen substantial growth in the trade volume between the two countries. Last year, the total trade between two countries crossed $20 billion. When we look at the import and export ratio of the bilateral trade, we find that Pakistan is importing a lot more from China. Currently, in the last year, we imported about $17 billion worth of goods, where we were able to export $3 billion dollars. So the trade balance right now is largely in favor of China. And when we look further, we find that the exports from Pakistan to China is dominated by commodities such as cotton, cereal, even copper, which of course it mostly goes into the industrial use and value addition in China. Whereas from China, we are importing finished goods, a lot of wide range of consumer goods also. And so that has been the case. I must also recognize that, as compared with the phase one, in which the business community had often complained about lack of engagement, at least the phase two was appreciated by the manufacturers in Pakistan in terms of their engagement and consultation. However, we have still not been able to benefit fully from the access of free trade to China.
So what are the limitations, what are the problems that are restricting Pakistani exports to the Chinese market? Because there has been basically big offer by the Chinese to the Pakistani exporters to send them whatever they want as much as they can.
So when we talk about trade restrictions, we normally classify the trade restrictions in terms of both tariff and non-tariff barriers. When a country enters into an FTA, it means that the tariff barriers are minimized to a significant degree, most of the tariff lines. However, that does not mean that non-tariff barriers are also removed. Non-tariff barriers include standards, quality issues, packaging issues, public health issues. For instance, one of the major and emerging export item from Pakistan to China is meat, and especially cow meat. And what we have seen is that when you look at how Pakistani livestock industry is organized, 90% of livestock sector in Pakistan, which is almost 50% of our rural economy, is organized into small farmers, and there is no economies of scale, and they are not able to mostly meet the standards which are set by the clients in China. So I think there are issues of productivity, but there are also issues such as compliance with the standards, and needs a lot of awareness, a lot of training on behalf of Pakistani government, and also Pakistani producers, how to improve these the and comply with the standards. Um, and it also you mentioned about productivity. I think that is also important. The fact that our yield, even when it comes to the agriculture. So I mentioned about cotton, for instance, and we know that in last 10 or 15 years, our cotton production has reduced significantly because of the issues with the seed quality, and the fact that farmers are switching to sugarcane, which has proven more profitable for them. So these are the challenges which I think puts limits on how much Pakistan can produce and ultimately export to China.
I also asked Ali Salman as to whether he sees signs of Pakistani exporters in the agriculture sector, in the industrial sector, getting ready, improving things, quality standards, to comply with the quality standards of China so that they can export more and more to the Chinese market.
So this was acknowledged on both sides, and I think that the solution which was identified was through development of especially the industrial and economic special economic zones, where Chinese investors and companies could come to Pakistan. Some of the industrial location has been relocation has been discussed, and the plan was to encourage Pakistani firms to collaborate in terms of production, so that they can learn from China in terms of the production, but also skills, and increase their level of output. But we have seen that very little progress has been made on this industrial collaboration. There is some degree of progress on agricultural collaboration. There have been some corporate farming experiments in the province of Sindh, where Pakistani farmers and Chinese companies have joined hands, and this is producing good results. And ultimately, the way forward is more and more collaboration with international partners, because I don't see that, given our current mix of productive capacity and managerial talent, and also issues of like lack of capital in the agriculture and industrial markets, we will not be able to take benefit on our own unless we upgrade our facilities and encourage more and more international collaboration.
So, what Ali Salman says is that potential is big. China has offered huge space for Pakistani imports, but it's up to the Pakistani producers, exporters to pull up socks and be ready to comply with the Chinese quality standards in order to be basically able to export as much as they can. Once they comply with the Chinese quality standards, sky is the limit, economists and experts say.